Hey guys, welcome back. I think I've made this video before. I think I've done every topic possible concerning Loki, but embracing the dark in both us and Loki. Um, and by dark, I don't necessarily mean anything that we would call evil, but I do mean negative. I do mean destructive. I do mean, the closer, the one who comes in, destroys things. And yes, you're going to hear me getting up and doing stuff. Sometimes that helps me relax. And why is it important to embrace this part? I mean, most of us are used to our culture where you're supposed to have a perfect, unchanging God who, is only light and love and, has nothing supposedly to do with warfare, destruction, everything else. Those are kind of complicated subjects to get into. And with Loki, we know he's not so much the warrior, although he can certainly fight. And, everyone knows about Ragnarok, and if you don't look it up, it's the most cheerful story in ever. And, what do you do when you have the destructive side? Do you ignore it, or do you, work with it? And if you do work with it, why? I mean, why would you want to work with this side that destroys things, a side that can destroy things in your life, side that can like totally worsen something before it gets better. Like if you think you're depressed before you start working with Loki, start working with the destructive side because he will pull out all the bad stuff in your life, memories you thought you blocked out a long time ago, gonna come back up, and you're gonna hate Loki. A lot of people stop working with Loki because he has that side. And it hurts when he works because, as I've said before, he does surgery without anesthetic. And he does this because it's the only way it will work. If he were to mollycoddle us, or we got, the nurturing side, and we got, oh, it's alright, here, have a cookie, it really wouldn't help. We know in our hearts we have to face these bad things. Like if you had a lot of bad stuff happen in your life to you, at some point you have to deal with it. You do. How you deal with it, is entirely up to you. Hopefully it doesn't involve self-harm though. But, you do have to deal with it sometimes. And I'm a really good one for dealing with problems by either running away or burying my head in the sand, and Loki's having none of it. And so I will find myself doing work with his shadow side, and he will come up unexpectedly. Like, you guys know, Big Gal, and one of the things you get during the holidays is that people are trying to feed you 2 or 3 plates of food. Yet they're kind of looking at you and kind of looking at each other like they think you don't notice, but then they kind of look at you again and they're like, oh my god. How could she do this to herself? And it's like, my metabolism did this to myself because I work out every day. I do. You guys know I work out every day. I walk in the house. I don't sit here and, eat from one end of the day to the other. But, nature is what it is. And the dark side of Loki is like, look, either you can start doing what you did, and what I used to do was very unhealthy, and I don't want any of you doing it. I used to walk 4 to 6 miles a day, drink only water, and eat under 1,000 calories a day. I was killing myself. But everybody, my doctor included, were so thrilled because I got down to like super skinny. I got down to like 130 something. And I was so super skinny. And everybody was so proud of me. Never mind, I was blacking out, and my body was kind of like shutting down. I was like starting to lose my appetite. I didn't want to eat at all. I was starting to skip meals, so I was like just having water, and I was like, I needed to lose more weight and needed to lose more weight because I wasn't super skinny. For me to have fit into my BMI, I would have had to lose like 15 more pounds. So I would have had to be a weight I hadn't been since grade school, when I was literally skin and bones and had to be put in the hospital to be on IV. Now the doctor goes by that BMI chart and won't go by anything else. And Loki, the dark half, will be like, well, you know what? You clearly can only do this one way. You clearly can only lose weight if you work out 4 to 6 hours a day. Because, you know, like I'd walk those miles. And then I'd do other stuff too. It wasn't like I was just walking. I was like walking and lifting weights and, you know, not eating enough calories and doing all this crazy stuff. And the dark side will make you face your inner demons of, you know, are you willing to literally die to conform to society? Are you willing to change who and what you are to make those around you happy? And as cruel as he seems, because he can seem extremely cruel when he's making you face how you see yourself and how other people see you, he's also a realist. He knows that, you know, everyone is not going to make everyone else happy. You can't. And maybe it's your sexuality, or it's who you love, or it's the type of job you have, or it's the color of your skin, or it's your religion, or whatever. We're all going to have that thing that, you know, people are going to judge us. If it's not something they can see outwardly, then it's an inward thing, and we know we have that, and they're going to judge us. And we can't let those people destroy us. And when Loki does see it's happening, when he does see, for example, like say if you're like me and you have depression and you have psychotic family members that don't believe you have depression, the dark part will come in and make you face your inner demons and make you face, yeah, I have this. This is going on. This is real. This is my life. And maybe for you it's something totally different. It's the amount of money you have or don't have. It's the, you know, like I said, race, nationality, whatever. And you are being put to the test and you are being pushed and pushed and pushed, and you're going to reach that breaking point. That is when the dark half, if we will work with him, kind of underworld path, will come in and work with us. And it's gonna hurt. He can be tender in that path. He can have tender compassion. But it's also gonna hurt, because we're gonna have to face the inner pain of not being good enough, air quotes, for other people. And we're going to have to face not being good enough for ourselves, because usually it hurts, really, if we're honest with ourselves. We usually don't give two meows what other people think of us. It hurts because we feel like we failed ourselves. And we failed ourselves because we're not acceptable to everyone else. Now, yes, it can hurt to not have certain people like us. And for some reason, that's always the ones that hurt the worst. The people that don't like us in the first place. Well, they would not like us even if we changed whatever. You know, if you changed everything about you to please them, there still would be something. They would make something up off the top of our heads. So Loki will teach us to find our inner self-worth. Even if we think, I hate the term, but even if we think we're damaged goods, he will teach us to accept what we are. To not think that we have to be, fill in the blank, whatever you think you have to be happy or to be accepted or to be loved. You don't have to be that way. Loki is actually, you know, if you look as you start to do research, some people don't even think Loki exists. They think he was made up. Some people think he exists, but they think, you know, he's like the Norse devil. Some people think he exists, but, you know, maybe he's only a fairy or something. I've heard that put forth. Some people think, now everybody thinks everything's a UFO or 2+. I swear to God, I'm gonna start hurting people. But, you know, you have to embrace, if you believe in Loki, you have to embrace it, you know, one, that you believe in him, and you have to embrace the painful part, the healer part that's of the darker underground nature, along with the later healer. Because, it's not all going to be tough. It's not all going to be, oh my god, this is so hard. I hate him so much. But there is going to be a part that's going to be like that. Because Loki, by and large, does not go up to happy, well-adjusted people. I mean, someone might as well say it and say, I like you. Do you like me? I like you. There's usually something you really need to work out, which is why people will say nasty things about them, because they're trying to cover it up. Because we're usually not good with dealing with our own emotions. We're not good with facing our own shortcomings, or what we see as shortcomings, and we're not good at facing what is. We keep striving to be something sometimes that we're never going to be. Like, if you see me lose 40 pounds right away, you can assume I have terminal something or other. But that doesn't mean that, we therefore will never have to do the work again. Sometimes we do. Sometimes you can learn to accept yourself, and then you just go through a day where, boy, I wish because everything was heteronormative, or our culture is mostly represented by white people, especially during Christmas. It's white people who can't sing in car commercials. You know what I mean? It's, sometimes it can be hard because you feel like you don't fit in, and that is part where the dark part of Loki can come in and work with you and say, it doesn't matter if you don't fit in, and it really doesn't, because you weren't meant to fit in. Usually Lokeans are a breed apart, and we don't always fit in well even with each other. We can be very competitive and snipey and hateful with each other, if we're being totally honest. But, that's okay. That's not something to strive for, to be competitive with other Lokeans, of course. But, that's kind of the nature of the beast. Usually the people that are called to Loki have so much shadow work to do. And as you're doing the shadow work, and it seems like a work in progress the rest of your entire life, you can be a little bit combative. You can be a little hard to handle, and you see these other people and you think, hey, finally got together, and you are not having none of that. So, it's a work in progress. It's okay to need to work shadow work. It's totally okay if it really, really hurts. It will. It's okay if it's scary. It's okay if it makes you cry. All that said, if it's really abusive, or you think Loki's telling you to hurt yourself or do something that would be physically harmful to you, it's not Loki you're dealing with. I can't say that enough. Loki would never tell you to, physically harm yourself. He would never tell you to self-medicate. He would, he's not going to tell me, what, it'll be a really good idea, let's go back to drinking. He's never going to tell me that. If I hear him say that, that's me saying it in his voice. That's not Loki. So, it's okay to work with the dark half, to work on your inner demons, because that's the half that understands what it's like to have those. That's the half that's presented himself to some people as, being totally insane and off the rails. And it's okay to work with that. And it's a good path to work with, because that brings healing energy, and that kind of brings kind of a healing that, the more cheerful, fun, happy path cannot bring. And if you have to repeat it throughout your life, that's okay. I know that doesn't give you much hope, but it's okay. You know what I mean. You can do healing, feel so much better, and then something triggers it. It's a really good book for everyone of any gender to read, would be Women Who Run with Wolves, because it talks about the cyclical nature of healing. It goes in a cycle. Like, you do the healing, it works, you are fine, then later on in your life it can come back up. And it's okay. That is, the nature of being human. So, I hope you like this, and his dark half is nothing to be afraid of, and I'm using metaphors like dark and shadow and everything else because we usually understand in our, Western culture what it means. It's not necessarily evil. It's not necessarily, you know, going to hurt you. It's, you know, it's a sacred part of the god. It's a sacred part of the goddess. It's a sacred part of us. And you have to learn to eventually embrace that energy and work with it, not to, you know, destroy other people and be an edgelord and be dark and spooky, but to clean yourself up, to do the healing you need, because it's, you know, it's really the only way to do it. And we don't have the society anymore where, you know, we do coming of age or we do healings like that. It's unfortunately lost to us as a society. We don't have a time where if you felt, you know, spiritual sickness, you would go off and heal. But Loki can do that for you. It will not be fun. You will not like it, but you'll learn to respect him. You'll learn to respect his work. I certainly would not want to draw myself. So, if you like what you see, like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you later. Bye-bye.